Welcome back to the Monday Tennis Briefing, where The Athletic will explain the stories behind the stories from the past week on court. This week, the Japan Open witnessed a perfect game from Carlos Alcaraz. Tennis fans in Beijing showed love to their WTA Tour favorites, and Alexander Bublik, a mercurial maverick, became Mr. Consistent. If you'd like to follow our fantastic tennis coverage, click here. How did Carlos Alcaraz hit something close to his peak? When Alcaraz hurt his left ankle early in his first Japan Open match against Sebastian Baez in Tokyo and fell to the floor with a grimace on his face, his tournament was in jeopardy. By the end of his quarterfinal against Brandon Nakashima, the world one was grimacing again, not at his injury, but at the absurd heights he can reach when in full flow. The 6-2, 6-4 scoreline against the American did not do justice to how Alcaraz alternated between diamond-edged forehands and gossamer drop shots, luring Nakashima into seemingly neutral rallies before blasting the ball past him, or angling it away on seemingly impossible trajectories. The highlight reel winners, of which Alcaraz hit 39, get the acclaim and the awe. But it's Alcaraz's technical tweaks, making his serve more fluid and going from a rushable backhand to a too-compact backhand, to somewhere in between, that allow the flashiest parts of his game to glint off a backdrop of even greater security and consistency. He is 65-7 in 2025, has reclaimed the world #1 ranking from Jannik Sinner, and has buried the already creaky belief that he is a player of inconsistency. The final game against Nakashima epitomized the completeness of his tennis. Serving for the match at 5-4, an absurd cross-court backhand flick took Alcaraz to 15-0. Two inside-out forehands into the American's backhand then forced Nakashima to change direction down the line, looking for the apparent safety of a neutral, cross-court forehand exchange. Alcaraz marmalized the ball for a winner. 30-0. Fleet-footed movement across the service boxes and another silly angle on a drop volley. 40-0. And then, after Nakashima sent a first serve back into the middle with good depth, slightly tucking the Spaniard up, Alcaraz shuffled backward and detonated an inside-in forehand to win the match. Alcaraz's ceiling has been the highest on the ATP Tour for some time. Now he is raising his floor, too. Nakashima is not his most illustrious opponent of the year, but that is in many ways the point. Alcaraz is throwing off his tendency to adapt too much to the level of his opponent. Some brutal early wins at the US Open showed off this trait, and his performances in Tokyo have done so, too. What makes Chinese tennis fan culture so special? The start of the run of hard-court tournaments in Korea, China, and Japan has brought racially insensitive comments from players on the ATP and WTA tours. Taylor Townsend's about Chinese food culture and Lorenzo Musetti about Chinese fans. Both players apologized. Townsend has since pulled out of the China and Wuhan Opens, citing an ankle injury, while Musetti appealed to fans for forgiveness after beating Adrian Mannarino over the weekend. In the aftermath of Townsend's comments, some fans brought signs to her matches at the Billie Jean King Cup, suggesting that if she ate more bullfrogs she would play better. Townsend had said these people are literally killing frogs after seeing bullfrog, a delicacy, on a menu at a buffet in Shenzhen. This witty, direct retort, and the speed with which others like it spread not just through stadiums, but through social networks Weibo and Rednote, is typical of how the country's fans embrace tennis beyond the on-court action by leaning into the online culture and backstory that is so vital an entry point for casual fans. Jessica Pegula, the 2024 US Open finalist and daughter of Buffalo Bills owners Terry and Kim Pegula, has learned that her player nickname is Da Fu, meaning big or first rich. Emma Navarro, whose father, Ben Navarro, is also a billionaire, is a Fu, meaning small rich. Coco Gauff is fruit salad queen and was gifted a massive fruit basket in a video ahead of the tournament. Katina Sinyakova is instant noodles, over, because of her hair. Yulia Starodubtseva is alphabet lady because of her many letters and vowels. I think they're so creative with a lot of off-court stuff, doing stuff for the podcast that we started, Pegula said of the support in a news conference. The home fans also got to greet their biggest stars return to the sport, with Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qin when returning from elbow surgery. After beating Emiliana Arango of Colombia, Zheng said in a news conference that her injury was not yet fully healed, and that coming here to the China Open really depends on the support of the fans, because my team wasn't really supporting me in playing this tournament. In every training session, I see those fans and I said, I really want to play in front of these people, she said.